welcome and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Romancing. St. Thomas is about to lose one more long-established business. Seven Wonders gift shop has been a mainstay in a busy corner on Main Street, but a string of crimes has forced the owners to say no more. News 2's April Knight has that story.
When businesses close in St. Thomas, they usually point to dwindling sales, costly taxes, or high power bills. One shop is closing down because of crime.
Seven Wonders gift shop in St. Thomas has been in business for over 30 years, but a recent tragic incident is finally forcing it to close out.
4 masked gunmen came in. They just came barging in. All of them had guns. They put guns to our heads. They took as much merchandise as they could. They broke 7 showcases.
This robbery is not Seven Wonders' first break-in. Since its opening in 1982, it's been broken into almost 100 times.
A few robberies where they would just come in, maybe break one showcase and grab whatever they can, but then people tried to break in through the top of the roof.
The robberies took a turn for the worst in April when they were robbed at gunpoint for the first time. It was tragic for the business, but even more so for the family.
My father passed away on May 28th, almost a month after the first armed robbery. He had a massive heart attack, so partial stress of that robbery.
For the Shahanis who own Seven Wonders, that was the last straw.
We just can't take it anymore. It's just as simple as that. You can't operate a business where our lives are in danger. Safety comes first, and having guns to our heads is not a way to run a business.
The Shahanis continue to call to the public for information on the robbery. In the meantime, they can do nothing but go through the painful process of shutting down a business that they started and built as a family. April Knight, News 2.
Now, Seven Wonders is also asking the public to help out in its closeout sale. You can visit the store located by Market Square, or you can go online at www.14k.com. Meanwhile, police are investigating 2 armed robberies that occurred in the Estate Williams Delight area on St. Croix. The robberies were reported on July 17th and July 18th. Here's more from the VIPD.
On July 17th at about 9:20 p.m., a female victim told police that she was visiting a friend when 3 armed males dressed in black clothes approached her. The suspects' faces were covered with white t-shirts. One suspect demanded the gold chain that was around the victim's neck. The victim froze and the suspect snatched the chain off her neck, and then all 3 suspects fled the area on foot. On July 16th, police were dispatched to the scene in Estate Williams Delight at about 8:30 p.m. A male victim told police that 3 armed males dressed in all black with their faces covered with black t-shirts approached him. They threatened the victim, took cash and the keys to his silver Jeep Wrangler from his pocket. The 3 suspects got into the victim's Jeep and drove off in a western direction, traveling out of Estate Williams Delight.
Now, in both cases, police say they searched the surrounding areas for suspects. An all-points bulletin has been issued for the vehicle. The license plate number is CEN 648. Police are still actively investigating several cases throughout the territory, and you can count on 2 to keep you updated. Shaniqua Robinson has more.
On Tuesday, May 7th, major crime detectives confirmed that an autopsy had been performed on the late Hassan Baptiste and Jose Navarro. The pair was found dead in their home on Wednesday, May 1st. A definite conclusion cannot be made as a result of the autopsy, and detectives are still actively investigating this case. Investigation still continues with the death of 17-year-old Rosalie Figueroa, who was found dead in a swimming pool on the north side of St. Croix on July 3rd. An autopsy on July 10th revealed that Figueroa's cause of death was asphyxiation. Detectives are appealing to the community for additional information on whom Rosalie may have been with and where she went after she left the house that day. Police are still seeking a missing man. Sean Ferris David, also known as Biggs, was reported missing by his family on July 5th. David is 28 years old. He is 5 foot 6 inches and weighs 140 pounds. Detectives are asking anyone in the community who has seen David anytime after July 5th to tell the police what they know. 28-year-old Keena Lawrence and her 7-year-old son Devontae Charles were fatally shot in Estate Glen on July 9th. At about 2:10 p.m., police were called to the residence in the Mid-Island and are still investigating this case. Detectives are still actively investigating these cases, and police are asking the community to come forward with any information they may have. Detectives can be reached at 6037, Crime Stoppers USVI at 1-800-222-8477 or 911. Shaniqua Robinson, News 2.
Now, you can also contact any nearby police station with information on any of these cases. Officials from the Bureau of Corrections testified before senators Thursday to defend their fiscal year 2014 budget. The agency is only one of a few that saw an increase in their allotment. News2's Erica Parsons has that story.
The Bureau of Corrections has a recommended budget of $26.4 million for fiscal year 2014. That's up 2.47% from last year's appropriation of $25.8 million. All of the agency's dollars are provided from the general fund, except a small federal grant to house illegal aliens within the prison system. But the increase in budget is far from what the agency needs. The 2014 budget does not include the raises that were negotiated for officers back in 2010. Officials say it was submitted to the Office of Management and Budget by supplemental budget a few months ago. The denied raises have caused a number of job actions in the last year, the most recent a week ago when officers organized a sick-out at the Golden Grove prison. Officials told senators their officers are the lowest paid law enforcement officers in the VI. They've also not gotten a raise in 10 years. They also outlined other financial challenges, citing a failing facility with in-house repairs because the funds simply aren't there to fix it. Another challenge for the jails? The health care costs of an aging population. Senator Clarence Payne suggested it might be time to reevaluate the current prison model.
In the city of Newport News, Virginia, there's a city farm prison where the inmates work in a farm. About 75% of them. They plant the food, animal husbandry, they maintain the tractors and they go out 4:30 in the morning. So by 11 o'clock at night, ain't no more rapping, playing dominoes, playing football, cussing. No. By 10 o'clock, everybody's exhausted. And the prison system itself is saving millions of dollars.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
The Senate Finance Committee also heard testimony from the Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs and the VI Housing Finance Authority on their budgets. Governor John P. DeYoung said late Wednesday in other news that he has asked the chairperson of the Territorial Hospital Board, Attorney Millen Maduro, to meet this week with Interim Chief Executive Officer of the Juan F. Louis Hospital, Dr. Kendall Griffith. Governor DeYoung said the meeting will provide an opportunity for a frank assessment of the most critical challenges confronting the hospital's day-to-day operations. The governor also mentioned that he wants the community to know that the recent decisions made by board members and the hospital leadership will not impact the quality of care provided by the Juan F. Louis Hospital. WAPA crews began work Thursday to install the new fiber optic cable underground along feeder number 8 on St. Croix. Installation began on Route 75 near Juanita Gardine School and will continue westwards to Estate Prophet. The new line will connect the recently updated Richmond substation to the planned Midland station. Work will continue Friday and will begin at 7:30 a.m. and end at 6:30 p.m. Motorists are urged to proceed with caution and follow traffic directions. No traffic or electrical interruptions are expected during the installation. More hearings in Washington over the IRS scandal. Daniel Nottingham has more.
Do you solemnly swear?
The IRS scandal took a new twist during Thursday's congressional hearing.
No, we didn't just improperly target conservative groups. We improperly targeted all groups.
Lawmakers once again grilled Treasury Inspector J. Russell George. The report he issued in May started a firestorm. It found the IRS unfairly targeted conservative groups like the Tea Party and delayed requests for tax-exempt status. But Democrats say liberals were also scrutinized. New documents show agents flag groups with words like progressive or blue in their names. George said he never saw this evidence during his investigation.
I am very disturbed that these documents were not provided to our auditors at the outset, and we are currently reviewing this issue.
Democrats say interviews and a review of thousands of emails revealed no political bias for one party or the other among IRS employees. But Republicans insist conservative groups faced a higher level of scrutiny. IRS agent Elizabeth Hoffaker worked in the Cincinnati office that handled tax-exempt requests. She says superiors in Washington delayed her recommendations to approve Tea Party applications.
Well, my frustration primarily was that I had to sit on them and wait for guidance from D.C.
Republicans have tried to link the White House to the targeting of conservative groups, but Democrats say the Obama administration had nothing to do with it. Danielle Nottingham, News 2.
And keeping our eye on the economy, the number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits fell 24,000 last week to 334,000. That report points to steady hiring. American Airlines earned $220 million last quarter. It's the first time in 6 years that the airline has turned a profit between April and June. American's parent company has been operating under bankruptcy protection for nearly 2 years. This is the New York Stock Exchange with Scotiabank's Stock Market Watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all up. The Dow 78, Nasdaq 1, S&P 8. Coming up on News 2, the latest on the Zimmerman murder trial. Trayvon Martin's parents speak out for the first time. Hear what they had to say. Plus, South Africans are holding street parties across the country to mark Nelson Mandela's 95th birthday. The former president. An economic agenda for women was launched on Thursday as Delegate to Congress Donna Christensen joined her fellow House Democratic Congresswomen. The group outlined their support for equal pay, work, family balance, and child care to assist women across the country. Women account for 2/3 of the minimum wage workers, and while 40% are primary breadwinners, 16.3% live in poverty, the highest in 17 years. The group acknowledged the progress of women, but stated there is more work to do to provide women with economic security and opportunities they deserve and their families need. Well, South Africans are holding street parties across the country to mark Nelson Mandela's 95th birthday. The former president is still in the hospital fighting a lung infection. CBS's Alfonso Van Marsh reports from London.
South Africans are celebrating Nelson Mandela's 95th birthday outside the hospital where the former president lies critically ill. It is a party even his family feared he might not be around for.
It was a time that we were all extremely anxious and worried, and we were prepared for the worst. But he continues to amaze us every day.
The nation is wishing him well. From the capital, where Mandela served as South Africa's first democratically elected black president, to the country's rural Eastern Cape, where he grew up. Children sang outside the middle school Mandela attended as a teenager.
Happy birthday, Dr. Nelson Mandela. We all praying for you to get better soon.
Mandela has been hospitalized for 41 days with a serious lung infection. Government officials have been upbeat about his condition. His grandson says Mandela has a long road ahead of him to full recovery.
I wouldn't go as far as walking out the hospital, but he is good. He's a lot more alert. He is doing better. He's responding very well to the medicine.
It is unclear what Mandela himself is doing on his 95th birthday, aside from visits from family and South Africa's president. His supporters say their birthday wish for Mandela is that he goes home soon. Alfonso Van Marsh, CBS News.
For the first time since George Zimmerman was found not guilty of murdering their son, Trayvon Martin's parents spoke publicly this morning about the verdict on CBS and about initiating a civil suit. And what would they like, if anything, for President Obama to do?
That's pretty tough. To say the least, at least investigate what happened. At least go through it with a fine-tooth comb and just make sure all the T's were crossed and all the I's were dotted, because this is setting a terrible message. It's sending out a terrible message to young teenagers. Trayvon was walking too slow, so should they be walking too fast? So I don't think teenagers in whole know exactly what to do now.
I want American to know that Trayvon was a fun-loving child. He was our child. We miss him dearly. Just to have your child's life taken away from you like that, it hurts, and it's a process that will take a long time to start the recovery from.
Can a private citizen with a gun profile and follow our children home? Because the United States Supreme Court doesn't even allow the police to profile people based on race. So this is an issue we need to know, because we got to know what to tell our children.
While it's day 2 of a sit-in in Florida, Governor Rick Scott's office protesters vow. Meanwhile, it's day 2 of a sit-in in Florida. Governor Rick Scott's office protesters vow to stay there until Scott addresses their concerns about George Zimmerman's not guilty verdict. 9-year-old Amon led a group of about 50 people into Florida's Governor Rick Scott's office on Wednesday morning and asked to speak to the governor. They were told he's actually out of the office, and they waited. About 30 people stayed overnight. Throughout the day Wednesday, community leaders and members joined the Dream Defenders organization in continuing a sit-in in protest to George Zimmerman's not guilty verdict. The group wants Scott to call a special session of the legislature. 8 high school students from the Miami-Dade school, the school district Trayvon Martin went to, traveled to Tallahassee for the sit-in. No word if Governor Scott plans to meet with the protesters, but reports say while he was in Pensacola today, he maintained his stance that there is no need to change Florida's Stand Your Ground law. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.